welcome to yet another episode of Hearty Conversations with us, your hosts, Awu Marita and
Miriam Gabrielle Paul.
Thank you so much for the love you've been showing us. Thank you for viewing, watching the videos. Thank you for liking. Thank you for commenting, for subscribing. You guys are the greatest people ever. So today we are talking about
Healing.
healing.
Are you healed?
There is a poster that goes around with healing being not being linear.
Yes.
Yeah. So as I was preparing for this podcast, I thought about, are there stages to healing? What do these stages encompass? What should one expect in these stages? And the first phase, what do you think the first phase would be?
The first phase would be shock. Sort of like
Awareness?
Yes, awareness. Shock and awareness, because you realize that you need to heal. You realize that there's something that you need to heal from. So there is shock because, I don't think we all wake up in the morning saying, there can be an element of shock.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes you just realize that I've been in this same disruptive pattern. It's time for me to switch it up. Yes.
So, can I ask, was there a specific event that happened to you that sparked off your healing phase?
A specific event? I think it was a series of events.
Mm-hmm.
I was in high school. I just switched schools. In A-level, I switched schools. And I had also... No, this was before. I'm confusing that story. Forgive me. Anyway, I was not doing well in school. So, that pressure of how can you be failing? I was not doing well in school. I had just been nominated. Is the word nominated? I had just been elected. I was information prefect. And we were supposed to...
But prefect I'm sorry.
No, it's
okay.
fine. It's fine. But we were supposed to release an opinion poll at the end of every term.
Mm-hmm.
And the opinion poll for the previous term, the A6s hadn't liked some of the opinions.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like everybody hated me. I felt like everybody in the school was like, oh my god, this chick, let's get rid of her. And then I also wasn't doing well in school, and because I wasn't doing well in school, there was a lot of tension with my parents. And I think there were a series of things that led to that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, I don't think it's rock bottom, but it's when I hit like
Bottom.
a bottom somewhere, yeah. And I became very depressed and I started having suicidal ideations. So I think I told my mom, and we got me help. So that was probably the event that started everything.
Okay. Well, mine was a series of events, but like my whole time I didn't think I needed help. I just thought, I'm just like that. My brain just wants me to end myself. And when I finally got help and the therapist went through my several diagnoses, illnesses, she looked at me and she was like, you're such a strong person. We admit someone for just one, but you have all these and you've been functioning this whole time with your dysfunction. So for me it was shock, but it was a welcome shock because I now knew what I was dealing with had a name and it just wasn't in my head. Sometimes like life happens and you just feel like it's just in my head.
I'm imagining it.
Yeah, so when she went and broke down every symptom, like at some point I was just because I was so overwhelmed,
Mm.
like with this information, and I was like, I needed to get this earlier. I should have gotten this earlier. I would have worked on it if I knew there were actual illnesses, and if I knew there was something that was dysfunctioning within me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me that was my event and shock of awareness, but it was sparked off by a breakup.
It's alright. We've all been there.
I'm not better. Yeah. So my next question to you, did you experience denial, numbness after?
I didn't, because I had symptoms like from when I was young. I had, like, I would be very anxious, I would be scared in people, stuff like that. So for me it was like, oh, you mean like I'm not just like the defective human being who can't cut it, but there is actually something wrong, like there is something we can do about it. It has a name, I'm not making it up. So there was, I didn't have denial. For me, I was like, thank God, because I thought, I thought I was going crazy. Like I thought I was just a crazy person who couldn't hack it at life.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of relief. I think there was a lot of relief and understanding.
I think for me, after the relief came the numbness. I'm a knowledge junkie, so I went down a rabbit hole. What did I TED talks about anxiety, depression? And after I finished those, I googled. After I googled, I read papers. So now I'm at this point of, okay, now I have all these illnesses. What am I going to do in life? Am I still going to be a functioning member of society? Am I still going to show up? Then I was put on medication, and you know when you've just been put on medication, the side effects really get you down.
Yeah.
So I was in that place of no. Then I went into numbness of I just can't deal with this. I just can't deal with this right now, the way it is and the way it's coming at me. Yeah, so when I went into numbness, I then tried to analyze myself again. So I was taken into my first inpatient. So when I was diagnosed, I cried. I begged my therapist not to take me in as an inpatient, because at the back of my mind, if I was taken in as an inpatient, now
Means
it
it's
will
really
be
true.
a mad person like the rest. Like I've done life right. The most I can do is not be mad, and mad being a very derogatory term, but to me that's a word I used then. Yeah, so this time when I was taken in, I was crying, I was calling my friends, and my brother just took me in, and I told him, never come and visit me again, never come and see me, I don't like you, I hate you. But Bambi the poor boy came every single day to see me.
Sweetheart.
Yeah, so as I was inside, I slowly transitioned from the numbness, because now I was around people who were fighting the same thing and who really got it. So I kind of felt like I wasn't alone, and I could slowly cope and do life while getting treatment.
Okay. That's nice. I like that you got help, and I think it's something worth normalizing, and that's why we need to have conversations about it, because when nobody's talking about it, you think you're like dying alone.
Yeah, you think you're alone. You
Yeah.
think you're the only one, the only African, because first of all,
right?
people keep saying
White people.
such a white people thing.
Yeah. Oh, that one.
Our fathers were taken as slaves. Me, it's okay. Me, slavery. They didn't take me, but what has happened to me, my trauma is still sufficient for me to be where I am, and that doesn't make it less of a disease.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. How did you navigate the phase? And I've already shared how I navigated my phase. How did
How
you
did I
navigate
navigate
yours?
it? I think initially because when I was first diagnosed, I didn't focus on like the therapy and the self-work that's involved. I was just taking my medicine. So that ended up being a detriment because I wasn't fixing the problem. I was sort of like putting a bandage over the problem. On a bullet hole.
Broken bone.
Yes. And I wasn't fixing the problem. So I kept on having, what's it called?
Relapses?
Yes, I kept on having relapses. And I actually reached a point where I was like, you know what? I'm taking this medicine, nothing is changing. We are still crying every day. So I reached a point where I was like, you know what? Peace. We shall see if we meet each other again. Yay. If we don't, it's okay. And I remember I spoke to my psychiatrist and he's like, no, you can't stop taking the medicine, da 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 da. And I spoke to a bunch of people in my life and they said, you need to be serious about this. Like you can't just be passive, you just swallow your medicine. There is an active participation that you have to put in towards fighting this disease. So I think that's when I recommitted and I was like, okay, let me stop crossing my fingers and hoping for the best and actually take an active role in healing. And I think it's been better because I've realized so much about why I'm depressed. Like the things that happened that made me start to think this way.
I think for me, what really helped me navigate this, and I will never thank this the day enough, my first therapist was really, really good. She was so hands-on with me. She used to say, Rita, as an outpatient, I know everything has changed right now. The day association is gone, you're dealing with so much. But even when you get a panic attack, just call me. And it didn't matter when, I'd call her and we'd go through breathing exercises together. We'd go through the 5, what do you feel, see, touch, exercise together. And then after, she would calm me down. And she was a really, really, really good person. But then also, what I learned while I was on the inside is not everybody is going to understand that you're healing, but you need to learn to keep up and stay your course, stay on your path to healing. And healing is going to look different for everyone. How I navigate it is going to look different from how you navigate it. I might choose to take medication and pray. You might choose to take medication and work out, but it's still a way that we're being intentional about our healing processes.
So how can you encourage a loved one to acknowledge their need for healing?
So the work I do is I have people reach out to me to get help. But when it's a loved one, I've just noticed that love is a healing language.
Yes.
So I know how I know their love languages. What do they want to feel loved? So most times I'm there present and speaking their love languages. If you want to sit with me, if yours is time, I'll come and spend a day with you. No, that's a lie. I don't want to spend a day with you. I'll come and spend an afternoon with you. If it's gift, however much I'm broke, I'll look for a small gift and give it to you. And then that will be like a breaking point, and then we can then start the conversation of, oh, I've noticed you're not well. Would you love to get some help? As opposed to, I saw you a long time ago. I saw in high school you used to have a bad temper. Hello, they said you are bipolar.
I knew it. I was like, yeah, I had seen it coming.
Yeah, so the way you approach your loved ones is really, really important. Make them feel loved first and then have the discussion. Do not cast them away, do not stigmatize them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do not stigmatize them into getting help. You know that thing of only mulalo naked of no. Yeah, do not do that. There are people before they have a mental illness.
Yeah.
Treat them like any other human being. Treat them with kindness. Treat them with compassion. Yeah, and see them for where they are at. Do not go like, Brenda had the same problem, but for her it took 6 months. For you it's been 3 years.
What's happening?
What's happening?
You're using our money.
You're using our money. The money is over. No. Everybody's healing journey is different, and meet them at the point they are at. That is also very, very important.
Yeah, I really want to emphasize what you said about love, because sometimes we can say, oh, okay, I've seen he's in his bed all the time, he doesn't want to get out of his bed, we are the therapists, guys, let's get for him a meditation person
who can carry out just
let's go to the gym. But you forget the simple things like just checking and being like, oh, how are you doing? Things like, did you eat today? I know you've been diagnosed with this, how is that going? How, just like the simple things will go a long way, because someone will remember how you made them feel, as opposed to you buying for them, a gym membership because you've seen something like that. So love should always be the first thing that we lead with. Sometimes we want to have actions, or you want to have something tangible to show that, I did this, but that's not the most important part. The most important part is that you're ensuring that the person is being taken care of.
Okay. Are there common misconceptions about this phase you would love to throw more clarification on?
So mine might not necessarily be a misconception, but I think I want to encourage people and let them know that there is life after a diagnosis. There is life after, look at us here. We are well-adjusted individuals. We go to work, we eat food. We are well adjusted, so there is hope for you. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. What you need to do is you need to be focused on your healing. And some days are going to be better than others. There are going to be days when you're like, oh my God, guys, healed. Hashtag healed. And then there are days when you're going to be like, But it's a journey. Yeah. But it's a journey, and you can, even us, we are not there. We are still on our journey, but we are committed to continuing this journey because we are committed to fighting for ourselves. Yes.
That's amazing. I have nothing to add.
I'm so Thank you. I feel so wise. I'm like, oh my God,
so wise.
I finished all the wisdom.
Yeah, so the next phase is seeking awareness and meaning. How did you quest for answers and for what you had, and how did it affect you? I already answered that.
Seek for answers. I think we talked about it in the episode on depression. My psychiatrist said, oh, you need to go for therapy and you need to, so I started cognitive behavioral therapy. And that was very important for me because it helps me analyze, because for example, I'll walk into a room and then I'll say, oh, I don't feel like I'm good enough. And then because you don't feel like you're good enough, you sort of run with that emotion, then you start to
Yeah.
feel sad, you feel unworthy, you feel like you shouldn't be here, you feel like you're wasting people's time and whatnot. But it teaches you to question it and say, why would you say I'm not good enough?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you? So these were sort of questions that were placed to me, and they reminded me and they helped me understand that sometimes it's the disease talking, it's
Yeah.
not reality.
Yeah, it's not the
Yeah,
difference.
so
There's
that's
a difference between power and depression.
yes, and that helped me towards finding answers and sort of in my seeking journey.
Mhm.
Yes.
Hmm.
I don't know if you have anything else to add or finish.
Well, I already said me. I just went to TED Talks, da 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 da. But also one of the things I still do is I am always asking my psychiatrist questions. Like, yeah, most people go in and spend 30 minutes. Like, I'll go in and spend 15 minutes. But those 15 minutes, I've come with the questions that I feel are relevant to what's going to help me for this current season or for this relapse that I'm going for. Yeah, so I'm very intentional. Also about who I listen to and who I let into my space. Because if you listen to everyone and everything, like some people are honestly just bad for your mental health. So you have to know which space is building me, which space is edifying me, which people are speaking into my life, which people are encouraging me, which people are treating me as a human being. I think that's very, very important.
Yes. So how did you address some of the physiological and how did you address some of the emotional and psychological pains or emotions left by different experiences?
Therapy. It was therapy, it was talk therapy, cognitive behavior therapy. But then for me, it had reached where it had gotten and it wasn't helping. I wasn't getting better. So this year, 20th January, my psychiatrist planned for me to start EMDR therapy. So it's something that's not so common in Uganda, and we have very, very few practitioners. But I'm going to go there and I will totally let you know what it's about. But it's mostly for people who have post-traumatic stress disorder. Yeah, so for me, my post-traumatic stress disorder is what causes the bipolar to strike and all the other things that I fight with. So they have to try and treat the PTSD, and I'm going to use EMDR.
Yeah. I mean, I agree completely. Therapy helps you, I think I've said this before, I feel like I'm repeating myself at a point, but it sort of like helps you analyze the situations, and not analyze in like an overthinking way of you being overly critical, but you're able to look at it and see what are like what facts do I have that are proving this point, what do I have that are against this point. You're able to like analyze all the information and then make a more rational decision. So yeah, therapy, guys.
Yeah, so we have to end the conversation here for today. Thank you for all the time you've given us. Please watch out for part 2, where we'll be going through the last 2 phases of healing. From us to you, sending you lots of love and lots of light. Bye.
Bye.